Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Poland Daily Travel. I'm Will Richardson. As always, very happy to see you. This time we're continuing our trip along the Narew River. I got my two friends I was just talking to, Stork 1 and Stork 2. I don't know if they're having a squabble or not, some kind of family feud, but one did leave the nest and decide to go and stand on the chimney. Don't know what it means, not a stork psychiatrist. This is a place called Gora. I don't know why it's called Gora, because I don't see a hill, and Gora means hill, but perhaps there is a hill somewhere. What I do see is a very nice little community that looks like it's got a lot of what they call działkas. The działka is where people have a piece of land and a house, well, sometimes big, usually quite small, even almost a shack, where people go in the summer just to get out of the city, to get away to the countryside and to enjoy themselves. And a little peace and quiet. Because let's face it, we live in times where sometimes you don't want to turn on the television or look at the internet, or if anyone ever does, still pick up a newspaper. So the działka is a good place to hide out. We're going to see a very interesting działka built by one of the princes of the Branicki family. This is a typical stop-off. We're in the middle of the countryside, but there's a tour of the old, they call it the King's Way, through here. And this is a nice little park built with EU money for local projects. You see a lot of that. It's really changed. It's really changed Poland and how and traveling throughout through the countryside in Poland. The roads are much better. I mean, some of the roads are better than the roads in England or the United States or other countries in Europe, because they're all new. The infrastructure is new, brand new, and this makes Poland very attractive. Anyway, time to climb those steps. And let's get a view, because it must have been put here for some reason, right? So let's go. And now we know why they put the tower here, because the view is absolutely stunning. And I bet even in winter, when it's covered with snow, it's beautiful. But that's the Narew River, nice and gentle. Gets much bigger near Warsaw. And as it combines with the Bug, there's a large lake, and the rivers, the Bug and the Narew, flow through that into the Vistula. At any rate, it's very pleasant just to drive along. There's not a lot of traffic. There's not a lot of people. No one, when you get on these by roads in Podlasia, which is this area where we are, it stretches from Suwałki all the way down to Lubelskie, borders Lithuania at the top and mostly Belarus. And it is the least populated area of Poland, so it's a very good place to get away to enjoy water sports, whatever they may be, kayaking, bicycling also, but fishing, that's a water sport, I suppose. And some people even like skiing behind boats. They'd have competitions in Augustus, for example, and Poland is a famous place for that. But I like the rivers myself. The Narew and the Bug, with the little villages and abundant countryside, just rich agricultural land that's been used in this way for 1,000 years and longer. You know, the methods of cultivation have changed, but it's been like this forever. That was somebody's idea of a summer palace, and the somebody was Prince Branicki. He had pretensions to be the king of Poland, and he thought he might impress people to appoint him to be the king in the 18th century, after the last Swedish war, that so he built a huge palace in Białystok, based on Versailles. It's really quite amazing. It's now a medical school, and good use for that. But it's a beautiful complex and wonderful gardens, well maintained, in the center of Białystok. But we're about 25 kilometers outside of Białystok, and this was the summer palace, which I much prefer. This is a really undiscovered secret. Look at it. Maybe I can hold it in my palm. Am I holding it in my palm? Or just karate chopping it? It has a nice moat around it. Not that anybody was going to invade, but that's the effect. And it's a beautiful, redone palace. You know, Jan Clemens Branicki, who built this, really was quite a dreamer and quite an extraordinary figure. He didn't become king. He might have, but he didn't. And he spent his whole life building that palace and this palace, and creating wonderful gardens and beautiful arrangements, but he didn't live to see it completed. In fact, this building, beautiful as it is, somebody burned it down. Isn't that the thing with these beautiful buildings? Somebody's always burning them down. Kitchen fire, probably. Or, you know, careless smoking, who knows. But it did burn down in the 19th century, and it wasn't rebuilt again until the 1970s. In 1973, they renovated it. And that was under communism. So even the communists saw this as a great place to hide away. Well, that's the introduction to the place. If you look over here, can I just get the camera to look over here? You'll see 1892. This is the stable edition. I guess it says 1892, so I assume that was when it was either put there or redone. Don't know what this little building, this is probably a guardhouse, this dilapidated building on the edge of the palace there. But you have these wonderful, this wonderful moat here, and these beautifully planted trees. I always wonder what leads people to build these kind of things. I guess they've got so much money. If you go back to the 18th century, and particular aristocrats had so much money that they didn't know what to do with it. So they might as well show off. Nonetheless, we do get these beautiful houses, and we could learn a lot today from the architecture. There's no reason why modern buildings can't be beautiful like this building. I just don't see the point. I mean, I think you'll agree, I actually like the back view of the palace a lot better. And then you have this algae pond that goes for about 1 kilometer. I mean, he really thought about this. He wanted a summer relaxation palace, but he wanted a place he could invite people, and he wanted a place that would be impressive. Of course, the climate out here under the trees and everything else is much cooler than it is in the city, I can tell you. It's much more pleasant out here, especially under the trees.